It is recording. So, hello, welcome to our final race reaction 2023. A bit later one.
It
3 weeks
before
later.
Christmas. It's before Christmas, at
Yeah,
least.
yeah, at least that.
Same month, same month.
Yeah, yeah. Finally, we got to do this. And to be honest, I don't think either of us remembers the race too much. So, I guess we'll
There's,
waste some
there's some
lives.
memories there. There's
Yeah,
some. I still remember certain Abu Dhabi better, but
yeah, still. Yeah, I get it. I remember like two things. That was Max winning and Tsunoda leading like 10 laps.
oh, true. Yeah. See, I'd forgotten that. So,
Okay.
but it was quite a good race. Lots happened,
Yep. Uh,
despite us not remembering.
yeah, a decent race for Abu Dhabi standards, definitely. Uh,
Yes, definitely, and for the end of the season.
yep. We we had kind of interesting battles throughout the field, and obviously the last few laps were pretty interesting as well. So we had a fight for podium and things like this. Okay. Do we start with the predictions? I mean, reacting to them.
Yeah, let's start with those
Yeah,
because well, we made some interesting predictions and didn't really come off very well. So I would say
yeah,
maybe more so for you.
yeah. I definitely see one. Anyway, I think we'll kind of remember the race as we go on over the predictions, and we talk like
Yeah, that's what I'm
drivers or
thinking as
driver.
well.
Yeah. So, okay, good. We start with qualifying, which we got the results. I think Max got pole, but that's all I remember.
Yes, so Max got pole.
So you get a
And
point.
scintillating.
Yeah.
No, I think he was quite a lot quicker than everyone else this race. I will say. Um, it did look like the Ferraris might be able to challenge, but when it came to like actual qualifying, he just sort of had everyone on hooks.
Yeah.
Basically, there was no issue for him in the end. But we then had Charles in second. As I say, the Ferraris were pretty quick. Um,
Well, one
and
of them.
apart from Spencer's issue, in qualifying they were quick. In the
Yeah,
race, maybe
yeah.
not so.
One of them
But
in both
yeah,
cases.
well, yeah, Science had a penalty, but I can't actually remember what it was for.
I think it was for the Las Vegas one, wasn't it? Like the engine change or no? Actually, he didn't have a
No,
penalty. He just didn't
oh, he
qualify.
just qualified that badly.
Yeah.
There was some sort of issue though. I seem to remember. Then we had Oscar Piastri in third,
Wow.
which was a shock, especially considering how far he went backwards
Yeah,
in
I don't
the
remember
actual
that.
race.
I don't remember Piastri P3. It's surprising. It's
Yeah,
only
I think he
yeah.
went almost backwards the whole time before finally managing to clutch up. Yeah. Then George was third, and finally in fifth place was Lando Norris, who you had to be on the podium, and I also thought this would be a good race for him, but oh well,
Yeah.
we
Uh,
were proven wrong.
it was interesting, to say the least. Yeah. I actually don't remember too much about McLaren. I think they just didn't have the pace to really be on the podium. That might just be me, but yeah.
No, they were struggling.
All right. Um, what's from the rest of the qualifying? Anything interesting?
Uh, Not really. Well, Yuki was sixth, and I think
Oh,
one of you had Yuki to be there, right?
I didn't have it in the qualifying. I had my most impressive driver, which I don't remember picking.
Yeah, Yuki was sixth.
Yeah, that's good.
And then Nico, obviously. I think the main thing was the chaos between Ferrari. The race was sort of Ferrari versus Mercedes. We will get to the third place playoff as well. Not third place, sorry, fourth place playoff, which was chaotic and came down to wins basically,
Yeah.
or most podiums was it? But yes, the actual qualifying ended up being a bit boring despite promising something. I don't mind the Abu Dhabi circuit, but yeah, it was literally the Ferraris who were better in the straight, and then the Red Bulls were like so much quicker everywhere else.
Yeah, Red Bull was like quite balanced over the entire circuit. It was like Ferrari's quick in the straights, and Mercedes was really quick in the third sector. That was there.
Yes,
They were like
yeah.
purple there in qualifying, I think.
Despite despite not being that quick all weekend, they were really struggling this weekend, and it was almost a foregone conclusion to me that they were going to end up losing to Ferrari. But they ended up getting that dub.
Yeah, definitely a podium for Mercedes. Definitely impressive considering where's Hamilton. Yeah.
Yes, yeah,
Okay. So that's it for qualifying, I guess. I mean, Hulkenberg
yeah,
in Q3 is impressive as well, but we've seen him quite a few times this year. The Haas can be up there in qualifying.
as
Funny
always.
thing is
Well
that
done.
yes, that car Hulkenberg was driving was the same car he drove at the start of the season. So basically, the the car without the upgrades. I'm still on the
Oh damn!
Q3.
I
Like
did not know that.
they just didn't improve at all. Like those upgrades worked so badly. Yeah, they
No,
should just
yeah, it was
just
interesting
stuck.
season for us.
Maybe should have just stuck with the old spec, honestly.
Well, it's so interesting to me that has sort of go, yeah, we're going to get rid of these young drivers that were building the car. We were like, they went in and went, oh, we're going to get two young drivers to build the car around. They then gave up on that, and didn't actually get any better.
Yeah.
They were like, we'll bring in some legends that can like help us build the car back to its glory, and yeah,
Uh,
it's not worked out well for them.
yeah, I think the driver impact on car development is quite overrated. Still think it's mostly down to the team and the engineers
Yeah,
whether the
same.
car is quick or not. Because we know Haas drivers are very experienced and very quick on several occasions throughout their careers. So we can surely say that they know how the car can be quick. They just kind of like become engineers themselves. So they still have to rely on their team giving them the best car they can. But has failed in this scenario very badly. Like this car was even worse than last year, which I mean it started last year. It started pretty well. It just dropped down, and this year was pretty much the same thing. That's stagnation. Good in qualifying and trash in the race. Probably the slowest car
Mm,
in race pace over the entire season, most likely. So
terrible on his tires.
yeah, same thing as Ferraris, but on the other hand, Ferraris could have some kind of pace during the races anyway, especially in some conditions like Las Vegas. They were very quick in the race as well there. Okay, shall we move on to the race?
Yeah, I just can't remember anything else from
Yeah.
qualifying. I know Hamilton and Sainz sort of shat the bed, but apart from that,
Yeah, it was Perez and Hamilton out in Q2. Sainz out in Q1.
okay. Oh, Paris got into ninth.
Oh, so that was like I remember it being very close. It was like one position off maybe on Q2.
Yes,
Still,
yeah, he again another slow weekend for
yeah.
Paris, but he seems to have kept his job. So
I
I think
mean,
it's the first time the grid will not change, or some stat my brother said.
yeah. Well, technically it has changed because it's the start of the season we had the race. So I mean,
Oh, true. I
the,
didn't consider that. Okay, the first time it's not changed at the end of the season, I
yeah,
guess.
from the end of the season to the start of a new one, I guess.
And then we had, well, Ricardo barely drove, so
Yeah. Still, Ricardo, for how much he drove, that was pretty alright. Not that impressive. I mean, Tsunoda has still got the edge, but that mostly can be due to the experience with the car. But still, like I expected more from Ricardo, even though he had only a couple of races.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially how we saw Lawson perform in the races he subbed in. Okay, race itself. I mean, we got another Max win, pole to win. Well, another season that was like we had a lot of them. So
Yeah. A lot.
a point for each of us. So points. Yay.
How many? There was one victory all season that wasn't a Red Bull. That is crazy.
Yep.
Like people often complain about the Hamilton era, but this was a different gravy. At least Hamilton had like Vettel or Rosberg to fight.
Yeah.
This was pure Max Verstappen chaos.
Imagine if they had two Max Verstappens in the Red Bull. Oh my god.
At least then we'd have like a fight.
Yeah, because I can imagine that
Instead of
car.
Max Verstappen and his much slower teammate.
Yeah, they could probably get over 1,000 constructors points at the rate, like finishing 1-2 every single race. That'd be crazy. Yeah. Fortunately for us, we had Perez who wasn't performing, so it gave us kind of something exciting because we saw fight for
No.
P2 on the podium occasionally.
No, yeah, it was sad, but yeah, Max stole this race. He was miles ahead of everyone else.
Yep.
Not even a challenge in the end for the young boy.
Yeah, 18 seconds ahead of Leclerc, who obviously slowed down as well for Russell. I think
Yes, yeah,
he wanted Russell
it
to
was still
overtake
about
him.
10 seconds.
Yeah. So
The whole strategic thing from Leclerc was actually interesting. You know what? They did give this race some spice in the end. Not rice, some spice.
yeah,
It did actually give something, which it was lacking, but yeah, it was still. You know what? We should go to second. So basically, for a very bad overtake on Lando, Perez had a penalty of 5 seconds. It was deserved, in my opinion. We might get onto that.
yeah,
But that meant that Russell, who was third, uh, needed and got overtaken by Perez. Leclerc needed 5 seconds for Mercedes, not sorry, Ferrari to win the championship of a gap between him and between Russell and Perez.
yeah.
But the issue there being that
Perez
he
wasn't
couldn't
quick
drop
enough.
out himself of the 5 seconds either. They did give him a straight. He did try and basically bring Perez along with him, but it didn't. It did not work at all.
Yeah, he just let Perez through in the last few laps. I thought
Yeah,
for 1 second he would try
Perez.
to like slow down Russell, so he would get behind Perez, but that would be very risky and probably they got
Yeah, you
enough.
might have lost the 5 seconds yourself, and like
Yeah,
Red Bull. Actually, Red Bull might care about who comes in that position because they hate Mercedes, but it didn't end up being the case.
yeah, yeah. That was interesting fight for between the constructors. At least we got some kind of fight instead of well, we know what happened in the first place for every single championship. So. Um, okay, so P2 is Charles, so no points. P3 was Russell due to the penalty from Perez. No points here either. P4 Perez. No points here either. And P5 was Lando Norris. No points here either. So Okay.
Interesting race for Norris. He seemed to have some sort of pace, but couldn't really. His tyres seemed to lack any substantial room. He had an interesting battle with a few of the drivers who all had to overtake him. I'm thinking Russell, I'm thinking Perez, but
Mm.
nothing came to it. And McLaren's actual strategy was quite, I wouldn't say it was the best strategy calls from them, although their tyres seemed to bleed more than I've seen in many other races
Yeah,
this time around.
they seem to have even more tire drag than Ferraris, which is weird thing to say. Yeah, that was one of their main problems this season, considering the later stages ever since Austria. Basically, in terms of raw pace, they were almost up there with Red Bulls, but they were still lacking in the race pace because of the tire deck and the Red Bull being just too good on their tires. Yep. Okay,
Yeah.
so can go run down throughout the rest of the race results. So Piastri P6, considering he started in P3, not that amazing. I mean, Lando still finished ahead despite the collision and everything that happened. Alonso in P7, I mean, pretty decent.
Who,
Alonso,
yeah, made sure he got. No, I was going to say, who, thanks to this P7, made sure that he got fourth in the championship based on the amount of podiums.
yeah,
In more podiums than Leclerc, they finished on the same amount of points, but with that last minute overtake on, it was Yuki, wasn't it?
yeah,
Who had the very aggressive strategy, um,
yeah.
managed to get P7. But then a certain Lewis Hamilton, who's up next, couldn't overtake Yuki in the end.
Yeah,
Uh, trying desperately to get the points that his team needed to make sure that they finished. Like, if Hamilton overtook Yuki, then his team wouldn't have had to worry about the whole Russell Leclerc situation.
yeah,
But he just could not get past it, even like almost crashing,
yeah,
which is crazy for Lewis Hamilton. On the last lap, he does a huge skid after overtaking Yuki and loses the place again. But that was at least an interesting. He really just did not seem to like this race, which is interesting because I don't know. He just from the US Grand Prix, he was so happy with the car. He was so happy with how everything went that you expected him to sort of like cruise on down for the rest of the season.
yeah,
But Russell sort of overtook him for pace again, and it just did not go well for him at the end of this year, despite what looked like a promising situation.
yeah. It really looked like Russell has found some kind of pace advantage over Lewis in the last few races. I mean, it was still really close. I still think Hamilton is predominantly the better driver, but still Russell showed
Yeah, I
towards the end
think
of the
over
season
this
that
season,
Russell showed it towards the end of the season that still has the potential that he showed last season where he beat Lewis in points. And the potential is still there. He definitely can fight with Lewis. He just needs to find that consistency and limit those moments where he crashes into a wall or something like that. So he threw a lot of points this season. Obviously,
yes, I mean
some were like
Singapore.
Singapore, Canada, for example. Some were like
Oh yeah,
some were more due to pad reliability, like Australia, where he DNF'd from the lead. That was
yes,
that was pretty sad.
yeah. A lot of points have gone down the
Yep,
drain for Mercedes with Russell this
yep,
season. But I think it's always a learning experience with that, and hopefully he's learned. Don't when it comes down to it, the season is long, and second place could have been easily wrapped up if he hadn't have taken such risky moves. But I could also see why, in some circumstances, the run in Singapore's maybe a bit more frustration. Can't get past old Lando, but yeah,
yeah,
it's been a chaotic season for Russell in the end, and for Mercedes, hopefully they finally get their acts together. They're obviously redesigning their car from scratch now.
yep. they're hyping up the next year's car already. Well, that was the thing that they did for the last two and didn't really work out. I mean, if they hyped up this car even more and they finished P6 and P7 in Bahrain, I don't think that deserves the hype. I, Mercedes really should build a competitive car again. We really need them to be up there in the fight because I don't think McLaren is
It is
up there just yet.
boring.
Yeah, I don't think McLaren is up there just yet. I mean, they have the drivers. I don't think they are there operationally. Like their strategies sometimes are just too bad.
The thing with
Aston,
McLaren also is they seem to regress every season at the end.
yeah, basically McLaren start off very slow, then they build up a good speed, and then they just slow down more towards the end. Well, hopefully they start with a good car next season, so it can be good for them, I guess. Aston's, yep, same thing as McLaren, for example. The development rate is very, very weird. I mean, they struggled towards the end of
Yeah,
the season with all kinds of changes to the car, and they just reverted to the old spec and got consistent points. So yeah, Ferraris are not gonna fight for championships, even with the best car as we saw in 2022. So yeah, hopefully at least Mercedes can do some kind of work on their car and become a challenge for Red Bull. Because yeah, at least right now, as things stand, it looks like Max is gonna win the next 2 years pretty easily, and then 2026 maybe some kind of regulation change can bring some kind of excitement and pecking order change over there. Yeah. Uh,
yeah.
Hopefully we can see something exciting. Okay. Going down the race order, Tsunoda in P8. I mean, I don't think he could have done much more, especially with that strategy. It was interesting
No,
to
it
see
was
Tsunoda lead like 10 laps of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, but still wasn't the best strategy either.
yeah, it was. Ooh, could have gone better, but I mean, he's had a really good season. Really impressed with Sonoda this year from where he was. I didn't really think he would ever like succeed out of the Red Bull driving program. I think I even called for him to be replaced last year with like a Liam Lawson
Yeah.
or someone else from the Red Bull program. But yeah, I'm really impressed by this year, and hopefully he gets a chance. Maybe we'll see how he does against Ricardo in a full year next year, and if it's not with Red Bull, I definitely hope he goes somewhere else. For example, Williams, who I've always thought would be a good match. Him and another Red Bull youth driver.
Yeah. Now, the thing is with AlphaTauri or Racing Bulls or whatever they're called next season, they will probably have a pretty good car considering just how much they're taking from Red Bull for next season. And they already showed some really big improvements in pace towards the end. So they may just uh, bring like the for third place car even into Bahrain. So Tsunoda will need to really keep that consistency and beat Ricardo. And if he doesn't beat Ricardo next season, I don't think he really has that much of a bright future unless he chooses a midfield team and stays there for 10 seasons, like Perez, for example. It just he needs to beat Ricardo for his career to get
Yeah,
better.
it's a big challenge, but you
Yeah,
know that's what they're here for.
yep. Formula One is a cruel sport. We definitely can see a lot of drivers out of the seat next season because we got like 12 drivers out of contract towards the end of 2024. So, big old silly season upcoming. Hopefully, very exciting and more exciting than this one because this one was just nothing.
Yeah, already decided before anything's happened.
Yep. At least I thought I would replace Sargent, but I mean, I guess he can have another season if Latifi had free, but still, I would like to see someone more competitive in the other Williams seat. because I really want to see Albon being challenged because I still don't know how to rate Alex.
Yes, yeah, I get you.
'Cause he beat Latifi, but Latifi was Latifi. We cannot really have that as a benchmark, and then he beat a rookie who obviously didn't have too much testing either. So how do we know if Alex is as good as people think? Because yeah, I obviously think Alex is good. He's definitely improved over uh, ever since his Red Bull stint, but still, I don't know how just how
Since
good he is.
Gasly was his one quick teammate.
Gasly and
Well,
Albon weren't
apart from
teammates.
Max, but that's difficult to.
Yeah, Gasly wasn't his teammate.
Was it not Gasly?
Yeah, it was Kvyat.
Oh,
It was Kvyat, I think.
oh,
Like,
okay, that's worse.
and
Oh
with
yeah, he took Gasly's seat.
yeah,
Well, he did pretty well against Max in that first half of the season. I think he got more points, but that was mainly because Max kept crashing back then.
yeah. The end of 2019
Oh,
was
in the half
eventful.
season, yeah.
I mean, he did pretty well in some occasions. Like Suzuka, they were like he tied with Max in qualifying, literally got the same time. And I mean, if you get the same time as Max and Suzuka, I think that was pretty impressive. But obviously, as the seasons went on, 2020 album, I mean, that was deserved to get dropped. Honestly, at that point, Red Bull were preparing to have a title challenge next season, and they really needed uh, a solid, consistent second driver in the next seat, in the other seat. I mean, Perez wasn't that big of an improvement over Albon, but still, I think Albon would have
He
done.
did manage to get, Max the title, and I
Yep.
don't think Alex would have done that.
Yeah, honestly, I think Alex would have done worse than Perez in 2021, but we'll never know, and we never know. We don't know how good Alex is right now, unfortunately. Even though people rank him as the fifth best driver or something for this season, I get it. I mean, from the for all the statistics perspective, like he whitewashed Sargent in qualifying. He got like 27 out of 28 points they got. I mean, those stats look impressive, but he got Sargent as a teammate. I don't think that's a benchmark at in any way. I just really want to
No.
see some kind of a proven driver next to Albon. That's why I wanted Tsunoda to move to Williams, but unfortunately that didn't happen. Tsunoda stayed in AlphaTauri. We got Ricardo back, so unless Tsunoda destroys Ricardo, I don't think he's getting into Red Bull. So I really hope he leaves that team soon, unless obviously he beats Ricardo, which I mean is doable, as we saw, for example, in this race. But still, I think Ricardo will perform better next season, as he will have the winter testing and things like this. Ricardo will be more comfortable in the car next season, so we'll really see the fight between them. Okay, I guess we we should probably move down the order. Lewis Hamilton P9. Yep, very difficult race for Hamilton. He obviously didn't have practice one. Practice two was red flag like twice, so he didn't have much practice. Got destroyed by Russell in qualifying. Got destroyed by Russell in the race as well. Nothing really much to say there. It was just one of those off weekends Lewis has from time to time. Lance Stroll in P10, decent again for Aston to have double points. Ricardo P11, beaten by Tsunoda convincingly. Ocon Gasly, nothing really much to say there. Albon P14, Hulkenberg P15 from P10 on the grid. Average Haas race, Sargent P16, and yeah, Joe P17 and pre-lapped. Well, Sainz. I don't think he finished the race. I think he just went into the pits the last lap. So yeah, the lapped cars were Sainz, Bottas, and Magnussen in P20. No DNFs,
Oh damn.
technically. Even though Sainz was a DNF, but it was the last lap, so it kind of counts. Yeah. Okay. That was the race order. I guess we move on to the most impressive driver. Um, you guys went with Piastri. I went with Tsunoda. Do you have anyone who's been more impressive than Tsunoda, apart from maybe Max?
No. I think Sonoda had a really solid race. As I say, I like him a lot. So
Yeah, Russell could be a good pick as well, but obviously we don't really know if Hamilton would have had the 2 practices. He would be probably up there. But yeah.
yeah, we have no idea. But yeah, I would probably give it either Sonoda or maybe Alonso, I guess. But
I mean, P7 and Aston. I
I
mean,
think
he
I
had a
think
good
we're
race,
reaching.
but
Yeah, no, I just meant more the
yeah.
race he had. But I feel like I'm reaching that. I would give it Sonoda.
All right. I mean, it probably doesn't matter anyway. It's not like it's 6 points in the lead. You would probably
Yeah,
need.
I don't think you're 6 points. I think you're only like 4 or 3.
We're gonna look at the scoring after this, obviously. Okay. I guess that's settled. Least impressive. I mean, I don't know. And I don't know who else would I pick apart from Sainz. I mean, in qualifying, I mean he was like 3 or 4 tenths behind Leclerc, which isn't like horrendous, but still qualified in P16 and finished the race in P18 in the pits while he couldn't move up the field. That strategy wasn't.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that strategy wasn't great, but he didn't show any pace whatsoever during the entire race. Like, he looked like he was pretty much fighting with back markers the entire race. Just really, really, really
And
upsetting
it's
from
not an
Sainz.
impossible race to overtake on.
Yeah, yeah, as we saw with like
And the Ferraris were quick on the straight, so it really, yeah, it was very confusing why he was just so slow compared to Leclerc, compared to every other top team. Like even Hamilton had a really quick period.
yep. And this was the race where Toto came on the radio saying Lewis is the fastest car on the track.
Yeah, because Lewis kept trying to give up.
Yeah, he keeps
And,
saying that to like keep Hamilton motivated, even though his lap times are like 2 seconds slower than the first half. Yeah, I mean, it's good from Toto to say that, like to motivate Lewis. It's just funny to say this like every race, and Lewis finishes P9 while being the fastest man on track.
True, I didn't consider that.
Okay, okay, least impressive. So we agree on science.
Yeah, it has to be sense,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
I mean, Hamilton could be picked, but obviously he didn't have to do practices, so not really judge. Ocon Gasly, I mean, they finished next to each other in the Alpines, 12th and 13th. I mean, that's pretty much where they should be finishing.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty standard, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay. Most impressive team. Um, do you have any picks? I honestly don't know.
Ooh, should we? No, no. I think the Alpha Tauris
Okay, I guess.
deserve it. I mean, Daniel's 11th, Sonoda's in the points. I think that for me that they probably deserve it, considering how far they've come this season. They've sort of been sleeper on how well they've done. For me, at least, because I think they were the worst car, arguably.
I mean,
Uh,
I don't know about the worst car.
they finished well. I think at the start of the season they were the
It's
worst
yeah.
car in anything but qualifying.
I mean,
Anything but the race.
yeah. I mean, look at the start of the season. I don't know if we had the Prix and Tsunoda was like finishing around P11s and qualifying pretty decent as well.
Maybe.
They may have just been a pretty decent midfield car, and we didn't really know because of the Prix being there. It looked like Tsunoda was just overperforming, but then Lawson came in, and I mean Lawson was almost on Tsunoda's level. So I don't know. I don't want to call them the worst car on the grid when we have Alfa Romeos and Haas there. And
They were the bottom of the championship at one
that's true, but it's mostly due to them having only
for
one
quite a
driver.
long time.
They only had one driver for half of the season, so kind of unfortunate. I mean, I would give it to AlphaTauri probably as well. There's no really any other team to pick. I mean, we either
And
can't
where
give.
did they finish in the championship in the end? Did
Yeah.
they finish above the Alphas?
They finished a few points off Williams. Okay.
You know what? That's a successful season for them.
Yep.
Well,
Finished
not
P8.
really a successful season for them, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, it was a good recovery from being last in the constructors, 5 races to go. So yeah, AlphaTauri gets the point. I mean, McLaren had a pretty average to below average race for their standards. I mean, we saw Lando being on the podium like 5 times in a row. So yeah, not very impressive. Considering we expected McLaren to be pretty good. Like we all had Norris in our P2s for every single session,
Yeah,
and Lando just wasn't like quick enough, even though the track should really suit them, the McLaren, technically.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah. It's a difficult one.
yeah.
I think I would. Yeah, I think I agree.
Okay, at least impressive. I don't think we're getting the points here anyway. I think I would give it to probably Alfa Romeo. I mean, they're very slow considering in practice Bottas was like P4 and they're qualifying they both got knocked out and the race well Joe was like few seconds of being lapped as well. I don't know what other team would give maybe to Williams, but again we don't expect Williams to be in the points every single race.
No, no. So I think I agree. They were quite far off the pace and off the Hasses as well. So
Yeah, yeah, they were, Hulkenberg finished between the Williamses, and that says something about Williams' pace then.
true.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
either way,
I
we don't get a
definitely.
point.
Yeah.
Like if it's Alfa Romeo or Williams, we don't get a point either way, so it doesn't matter. Okay, actual prediction might obviously incorrect because Tsunoda didn't lead enough laps, unfortunately, to this be correct. So Max led like 40 plus laps and got over 1,000 laps left in a single season, which is crazy. That's one of those records we don't think are gonna get broken anytime soon. Um,
The one time I didn't pick anything really, really like out
was
there.
this correct? I don't remember a
Yeah,
safety
it's
car.
correct. Yeah, there was no safety cars.
Okay, good for you. Good point. Aston no points, obviously. Got double points, so banana incorrect. Yeah, that was last prediction of 2023. Wow.
There's 2 points. Oh, that way it ended up being 1 point, didn't it? Oh no, 2 points. It's gonna make it close.
Yeah, let me see just quickly. 242. So I gotta add it now. Oh, it's actually 4 points. At least what the scoring says.
Yeah, I got four. No, I meant 2 points on you.
Yeah, you got 2 points on me, but it's still 4 points behind. I mean, we don't have
As
any
if
more
4 points behind.
races. Maybe if we would have
Yeah.
started in Bahrain, it could have been different, but
Uh,
we'll never know.
see, I thought I was 4 points behind, but and it would be 2 points in the end that make it respectable. But never
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah, I mean, it was closer than the real championship by far. So,
True.
I mean,
True that. True that.
it's pretty impressive that we kept this title fight on to the last race, basically. And Banana
Yeah.
missed the first 3 races and still did pretty decent. I mean, probably would have finished last by a mile anyway, but improving at least. Okay. So well, since we saw in the British Grand Prix, I don't know if this could classify as a regular championship. There's a predictions. Obviously, I'm probably gonna do next season as well, and well, whatever amount of the future as well. So yeah, I don't want to call myself a champion this season, but I guess I'm the winner of this predictions one.
Take the champion. Take the champion mantle.
Okay. So next up is our driver rankings. Maybe we can do that like next week. Maybe Banana
Yeah,
joins
yeah.
us as well.
But
Um,
it is Christmas, so I don't know what I
well,
might do.
next week, like after the Christmas, all the Christmas days, like 28th maybe. I don't know. Are you like
I shall
away?
see what I am doing.
All right, all right. We'll talk later then about that. So, okay, the season is in like 78 days or around that number. Very very far away till the winter testing as well. Okay, so how were general thoughts on the season?
Boring.
Not gonna lie, I kind of expected that. Yeah, I cannot say anything different. It was pretty boring for Formula One standards over last 3 years. Like 2020, we had, even though it was the championship was dominated, we had pretty good season behind the Mercedes. And 2021, obviously one of the best seasons we had in a while. And 2022 was good for the first half. Then second half was kind of Max Verstappen like in this season. So yeah. So this season was basically Max Verstappen winning everything, and the real excitement was in qualifying because I think Charles got the most poles or got close to having the most poles in the season. That's crazy considering the Red Bull literally won 21 out of 22 races. Or maybe it actually was Max. Oh, I'm gonna check real stats. How many?
Yeah, I think you're thinking of the season before.
Yeah, it's just last season definitely was Charles, but seasons 2023. Um, statistics, pole positions. Where is it? Here. Yeah, Max got 12, and Charles got 5, so that's not even close. But yeah, Perez got 2, Sainz got 2, Hamilton got 2, got 1, sorry. Hamilton got a pole, yeah, it was Hungary. I was like, what? Mercedes got pole position? Okay,
Oh, what a pole it was. Schumacher absolutely destroyed himself in the race.
yeah, at the start he just lost 2 positions and then didn't do anything. And terms of constructors, 14 poles for Red Bull, 7 for Ferrari. I mean, they got like 1/3 of all the poles this season, which is pretty decent. Not great, but all right. 1 for Mercedes. Yeah. In terms of wins, we obviously know the picture. 19 wins for Max Verstappen. Crazy, absolutely crazy number. 2 for Perez. Um, I mean, at the start of the season, like the first 4 races were pretty alright for Perez, but then just the rest of the season was trash, to say the least. And Sainz with the 1 victory in Singapore. Obviously, that was the only non-rebel victory that you mentioned earlier. Fastest laps, yeah, Max won everything. Podiums, 21, 21 podiums for Max. Crazy, crazy number. Alonso with 8 podiums, number 7. Almost 6, yeah. Charles got 6, so Alonso finished ahead amongst the podiums. Laps led 1,003 for Max. Second place, Perez with 146 and Sainz with 77 P3. Actually, 10 drivers led the Grand Prix during the season. That's not a bad number, but
Only 10.
it, but when you think about the season,
Only 10, and like, yeah, I would like to see stats from other seasons.
we can say 2022 was 8 drivers, 21 was
Okay.
11, and 2020 was 9. So bang in the middle, I
Well, in
would say.
2020, you also had like 5 winners. So,
Um, yeah, we had Russell, Sainz, Perez, Leclerc, Max. Okay, that's about it for stats. When it comes to season itself, obviously Max 575 points. Dominant is not explaining just how dominant the season was. If they just should invent a new word for Max dominance. It's just Max being Max. Yeah, it was a crazy season. Perez P2. I mean, it wasn't the worst season ever, but it wasn't good by any means. There are so many moments where Perez looked like a rookie at the best. That was not good from Perez over the season. Hamilton, I mean P3 in the Mercedes. They finished P2 in the constructors, but still 28 points ahead of Alonso. I mean, that was a pretty considerable gap considering the Mercedes, Ferraris, McLaren, and Aston. They're pretty comparable over the season. So yeah, good for Hamilton. Obviously, you mentioned Alonso and Charles being tied on points and 206. Alonso having more podiums. 205 Norris and 200 Sainz. Sainz dropped from P4 to P7 in one race. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very very unfortunate. I mean, that was his fault for not being there in Abu Dhabi, but whatever. Russell on P8, 175. In the end, the points don't look that bad. I mean, he finished only, what is it, 59 points behind Lewis, which is a bit, but it's not like catastrophically awful. And he had a pretty good last few races. PS3 P9 and Stroll P10. Okay, guys, that's it for the championship. Obviously, for Mercedes beat Ferrari in constructors. McLaren did beat Aston as well, and the rest is unchanged. So yeah, that's it for the season. We're finally over. We can do the driver ranking stream, and we can both forget about this season forever, I guess. Okay,
Oh yeah.
yeah, let's hope the next season is much more interesting, because it's been 2 seasons since we had some kind of excitement. Like one and a half. Well, ever since Charles started having engine failures in 2022. So yeah, thank you for coming on so many streams of mine, recordings. I really appreciate it, and considering just it was our first year of doing F1 content, I think that was pretty successful considering we are MCC channels.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun, and I hope you two guys had as well. Yeah, I'm excited for next season, and probably gonna see each other next week, if not the week after, probably. I really want to do the driver rankings because I have some controversial opinions about. Well,
Okay.
you know, I rank my drivers based on the cars they have, not the teammates they have. That was difficult to explain. Basically, I take into account the speed of the car more than other people, for example, because when you see driver rankings and on the other channels, they just have like Albon and all the top 10 drivers in the driver standings there. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I want to like point out that other drivers had pretty good seasons as well. And that's about it. I think we can wrap this up. 51 minutes for the second last stream of this year, probably. Stream/recording. I'm just talking nonsense. Anyway, any any last words?
No, thank you very much for having me. I appreciate you. Yeah.
Yep. To hell with the season.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you again. This is the recording. Thank you to everyone who's been watching my first F1 content for the first year. Hopefully, way more to come. This is something that very much more interesting than MCC, for example, than I ever was. So hopefully, I can keep this up for many years to come. And yeah, thank you again for sticking with us, watching the streams, watching the VODs, watching the recordings, and see you next season. Definitely. Okay, bye everyone.
Peace.